Hi guys, it's Tom here with another tech tip. Today we'll be looking at Adobe Premiere Pro and adding a title or lower third. And so you'll see here I'm in Adobe Premiere. I've got a project open. I have a little bit of video here on my timeline that you'll see. This is our tech tip video that I shared the other day. And so what I want to do is add a title or a lower third to identify myself as the speaker. So we'll go the easiest way possible here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to File, up on my menu bar, and then I'm going to go to New, and I'm going to come into Legacy Title. And so that's going to open up a dialog box for a new title. It's going to populate with the data from your timeline right here, 1920 by 1080 and 29.97 frames. And so it's going to allow us to add a name for this title, and so I'm just going to call this one Tom. And so we'll click OK. And so it's going to open up a dialog box. Which has opened up on the other screen here, so let me drag it over so you guys can see it. There it is. And so what it has done is it's brought up our little work area here, and it's pulled the video from the frame on our timeline that I was looking at. And so if I were to select a different area of our timeline, you'll notice that this moves as well. And so from here, we were going to want to add a little text box down at the bottom, and so we'll click on the T here for the text tool, come down to our screen here. It gives us a little dialog box here, so I can type in my name. You'll notice that it is defaulted to the font face that is first alphabetically, and so we can come in and click and select all of that, and then we can select a different font from our drop down list here. So if just come up with this one here. Likewise, we can adjust the size. Maybe we want it a little bit bigger, and then we can also adjust the color by coming down over on this panel here, and rather than white, we may want to come up with a bluish color here, and we'll just select that for demonstration purposes. If you're not comfortable choosing your own colors, down at the bottom here they do have a bunch of templates already set up. So if I click on this one here, it will adjust it accordingly. It'll fill in the font. You'll see that there's a little gradient fill here, so it's 4-color gradient that it takes in there. It also sets the font face up at the top here, but I could come back in and adjust any of these to my liking as well. So if I wanted to use this font instead, I could do that. If I wanted to change any of the colors in this gradient, I could click on those and adjust those as well. So maybe instead of this yellow, I wanted to use more of that blue again, and it will adjust that particular color here. And so I can click on my arrow selection tool here. That will allow me to move the box around the screen. I can also come over here and I can automatically center that box if I wanted to center it this way, and that it will do that automatically for you. But again, we want it at the lower third of the screen, so we can center it this way rather than having it up over my face. And so that's going to look pretty good for our demonstration here. If we were to use, let's say we were going to use more of a black font that might not show up really well on my black shirt, I can come in, I can create a box that's going to go behind, and so we'll click on we'll create a box here. In this case it's going to be black, and so we can change that to maybe this red color. Oh, it changed the actual shadow. I'm sorry there. We'll come up to the fill section here and we'll change that to a red color. There we go. And so now I have a box. I can come in, find my name, bring it up inside the box. Now because we created the name first, it's displaying behind the box, so I can right click, arrange, and I can bring the name to the front. Or did I select? Let's right click again, arrange, and bring the name to the front. There we go. And so now I can display the name over the box. Once I'm done and I'm happy with that, I can click on the X in the corner to close it. Remember, we already gave it a name of Tom when we first opened. And so now you'll notice I've got it saved over as one of the assets here in my project. And so I can click and drag it just like any other piece of media. I'm going to set it on the video 2 line. Again, we're building those layers, so it is going to display over the raw video that I have down below, which is the video of me talking. And so this quickly, we have added a lower third. From here, we can add any of the effects that we would normally add to our video. And so in this case, if we wanted to dissolve that graphic in, I can add a dissolve, cross dissolve, and so it's going to fade in over the course of 15 frames. I can also add that dissolve, that cross dissolve on the back end so that it dissolves out as well, just to give it a little more fluidity and less harsh as that graphic is fading in and out. One other option that we have, if I delete that from our timeline and I come in and I create a brand new one, file, come on, there we go, file, and new, and legacy title again. Again, we'll just call this one Tom 2. It's going to bring up the same dialog box that we had before. And so for this one, I'm going to select my text tool, and I just want my color here to be white. As soon as we catch up, come back to my text tool, and I'm going to type my name again. There we go. Perfect. And so be able to adjust that on the screen. I'll put it down in that corner. And I'm going to close this because I'm pretty happy with that for now. And so going back to our project pan here, I'll bring my Tom 2 title over, and you'll notice it has appeared on the screen. What I want to do is I want to add a little more dynamic to this one, and so I'm going to bring in a graphic, a moving graphic that we have available, and I'm going to sandwich that on our timeline between our original video and our title. And you'll notice here this particular video slides in. It's got a little bit of a glow to it, and then at the end it transfers out. And so I can come back in to my Tom 2. I can double click in order to edit anything that I've already created. Again, it's going to bring up the frame that we were working on, and I'm going to move the text box down a little bit to line it up on this blue bar just a little bit better. And so we'll find a nice happy spot here in the middle for it. That looks pretty good for our demonstration here, and I'm going to click on the X again to close that. And so now you'll notice that we have 3 layers here. We've got our original video of me talking, we have that blue bar animation that comes in, and then we have our title that we just created. And so we're just building those layers together. And so you'll notice here as I go frame by frame of that blue bar coming in, I'm going to go frame by frame and wait for it to stop. And then I can extend my name to fill that entire time. And then likewise on the way out, we'll see where it starts to dissolve or transition out. And I will extend the name to fill that entire time as well. And so now we've created a little bit more animation and dynamic, increasing the production value slightly. We can still come in and add a transition or an effect to that name also coming in, and so we'll cross dissolve that in, and then we'll cross dissolve it out again, just to add a little more production value and a little more transition to that. So it slides in, and then my name fades in, and then on the back side that name will fade out, and then the bar will disappear, just to add again a little bit more dynamic to that. And so say further down our video here for our demonstration purposes, maybe Craig shows up on our video and we want to create a lower third for Craig as well. In order to do that, I can come in and into the Tom title. Again, double click on it to open it up in our editor. And we already know that we've got the type font that we want, the color, the size, the position, and so I can come in and I can create a new title based on that current title by clicking this white icon up at the top. Click on that icon, brings up our dialog box again, and so for this one we'll name it Craig, and we'll say OK. And again, remember that that just changes our file name. It doesn't actually change what we have typed into this text box. And so I'll double click on the text box, and instead of Tom, we'll use Craig. Remember again that we already gave it a file name, so we don't have to do any save. At this point we can just close. Go back to our project, and there is Craig in there as well. Drag Craig over, click on our timeline. There you'll notice that Craig's name has appeared. Again, if you wanted to add that animation in there, we can drag that in again as well and line that up so that it all appears in our timeline and in our program monitor up here. Again, just a few quick ways to show you how to add a title, from very simple to adding, to getting a little more complex. Simple, just add some text to the screen. Want to add a little more dynamic, put a little bit of a box behind it, a colored box, in order to let that text stand out from your subject. Or, if you really wanted to get fancy and add a whole lot of production value, add those animated fly-in lower thirds that you can find online. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call or shoot us an email. Actually, email info@camerie.org, or on our website you can check out our text tips at camerie.org/tech tips. Take care, be safe, stay healthy.